Hey everybody, it's Hope and Christy. We're back again. If you didn't catch it already, we did a first round of a video focused on capabilities. Now today we're focused on organization and what the organization gets, how we contribute to it with our capabilities. And we're excited to share with you how this can contribute to us feeling relieved and revived in our work world, but in all of the worlds in which we participate. Christy, what more are we going to do today?
Yeah, so this one's going to be short and sweet. We're very conscious of your time because if you're watching this, you're probably someone who very much prides themselves on being efficient with their time and in their life. And we want to give you practices that you can apply, like Hope was saying, to every aspect of your life. So if you missed the capabilities piece, that was our first video. Make sure to check that out. We'll put the link below. And that leads right into what we're going to be talking about today with organization. So, capabilities, we can oftentimes sit back and go, I feel very capable. But on the days when you don't feel capable, that's the video you want to watch because it gives you practices to just get you back in alignment, just to get you back clicked in to feel like, okay, I had to brush that off because I am capable. And then once you're able to do that, then it scaffolds. So we'll show you how you can kind of piecemeal it, and you might be able to do organization first and then add capabilities in. But if we're going to be going in order, once you're able to get clicked back in, okay, I am capable, and use maybe the practices that we offer in that video, then you get a better, clear sense of the organization you find yourself in. So when we're talking about organization, it's not just business organization. It's your home, it's your community. It could be the schools that your kids go to. It could be whatever groups you find yourself in. And really, how can you feel relieved and revived? Well, oftentimes there is a feeling that we are not doing enough. And so when we look at whatever organization, it could be at your home, I'm not doing enough. You could look around and feel so overwhelmed, or at work, I'm not doing enough, or with my kids, I'm not doing enough. So what one practice that can totally take the whole compare and despair piece and flip it on its side is to, the minute you hear it yourself say a thought or feel like a tightening, is to say, how can I contribute? It's that one question. How can I contribute? And when you shift to how you can contribute instead of what you need to be doing, or whether you're doing it for a reason that you're trying to prove yourself as A, B, or C, the best mom, or the best worker, or the best multitasker, or the best neighbor, it can get crazy. So the minute you say, how can I contribute, or where can I best contribute, it is such an immediate reliever. And it allows you to kind of like roll up your sleeves and feel a part of something. Because oftentimes when we get ourselves in, Hope, I want you to speak to this too, because I know that I do this. Like oftentimes when I get myself in a tizzy mentally, I feel very alone. I feel like I'm the only one who's feeling this way. I'm the only mom who's working, who has a business, and the minute I shift to like, how can I contribute? I feel so much more a part of something. And it
Yeah.
really does help you narrow down what you're going to contribute. You don't feel this need to have to be doing so much because, to your point, I would love you to speak to, we've completely, I don't want to say completely, but a lot of times we push to the side the quality over the quantity. And you had mentioned something in a previous conversation. So if you could touch to that piece, that would be awesome.
Yeah. And before I get to the quality and
Yeah.
quantity, I think that we're saying around, I love the idea of we're always, we spend too much time shooting on ourselves. Of
Yeah.
course, there's a little pun in there, but the idea being that we're constantly holding ourselves to a bar that is not achievable. And that does lead, like you said, Christy, to feeling really alone. We've got the whole
Mm-hmm.
weight of the world on our shoulders, whether it's we're not enough, we're not giving enough to our kids' schools, we're not giving enough at the office, we're not giving enough to our children, we're not giving enough to our parents, to our community, whatever it may be. And so, yes, like you said, focusing on the quality versus the quantity. And the other thing is reframing this idea that we can often think like this bar is so high of the organization, of all the needs of the organization, but we flip it around and think, what is it that makes a great organization? What makes a great community? What makes a great household? What makes a great work, like, a professional life? And when we take a step back from the day to day, from all the quantity that takes up our whole day, and we think about the quality, well, in a household, laughter, some version of expectations, some version of free time, bonding time. In a work life, it's tracking towards bigger goals. It's going with the work that feels good. Or in a bigger organization, in a work environment, if you're working in a corporation, it's hearing from different ideas. It's maybe it's like inserting energy at certain times. So it's not that we have to be everything, have that long checklist of everything we need to be the best worker in my corporation, or the best solopreneur, or the best parent. But let's think about what are the really interesting things that percolate to the top when you think about what does an organization need to be interesting, fulfilling, successful. And let's focus on those because that's a lot easier than focusing on all the minutia and all the stuff that we put on our plates.
Yes, I love that. And I love the step back. So that speaks right to, if you haven't checked out the first video on capabilities, definitely check that out, because Hope and I both share practices that help with that help you just get used to experimenting with pulling back so that it just becomes a bit more natural. And then your recovery time of kind of getting in a mental fog is so much shorter. Like the lapse there, the gap shortens. And the quality over quantity, that's such a big one. And you made me think too, oftentimes when we are saying the best, like being we think it's a give, but it really is about us. And
Yes,
it's
it's so
not in a
true.
malicious way, but it's like the minute that, like, I want to be the best speaker, I want to be the best mom, we're not even seeing our kids at that point. We're just seeing like what
It's our
we
egos. Yeah,
it becomes our
totally.
ego. So instead of like, how can I contribute? It creates this sense of community within whatever organization you find yourself in. So then there's the sense of team in your home. There's a sense of team in the organization. There's a sense of team in the business organization. There's a sense of team in the community. Instead of I'm going to be the best community member, then it's like you're still separating yourself. So I
So like you said, yeah, feeling
yeah.
like it's you're doing it alone. Absolutely.
Exactly. So just to recap it, what if you could have like one go-to question that really stops any sort of mental chatter that isn't helpful in its tracks is, how am I contributing? How can I contribute? What am I
Yeah.
contributing? And sometimes the what am I contributing might be like, oh, right now I'm contributing a super bad attitude. So wouldn't want to be around me right now. So I'm going to go take a nap, like a 10-minute nap, or I'm going to just go for a walk, or because the chances are too, if we feel crummy, we're going to go to not the most helpful or healthy coping mechanisms. We're just not. And we're not going to even think about it. So the quicker we can shift, give ourselves a little bit of love and just say, okay, well, how can I contribute? It creates a sense of inclusivity and a sense of community versus isolation. I think that's huge.
Absolutely. I think that's exactly it. That's the summary and that's the question to ask. And it really will help you separate from all of the little paper cuts that can get us
Yes.
down. Focus on like the bigger picture of I'm contributing to something, not something is requiring of me. I
Yes.
get to contribute to this.
Yeah, and it's making me think too, also reach out to someone. Hope had referenced an exercise she uses in the last video about championing. And I'm not going to go into that right now. You can absolutely check that out in the other video, but I love the idea of thinking about someone who you really admire, which Hope touched on too, and reach out to them. Like if it's someone who just say, I am feeling really overwhelmed right now. Do you have any tactics? And you might be surprised that they may be very honest with how they deal with anxiety. It might be someone who you look up to so much, who's in your community, and you realize they have like the best strategies for dealing with anxiety because they have severe anxiety and you never would have known. Or if it's someone who's a public figure, even getting your hands on like a biography or autobiography of them shows you all the challenges they've gone through, and it just creates a sense of togetherness.
Camaraderie, absolutely.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Anything else on organization, Hope?
I think we've covered it. Like, remember that we're not alone. Find that team. Think about what we impact we can create, and focus on like what the organization needs from a high level, rather than getting bogged down in all the details.
Absolutely. All right. So we will be back for the last installment of this 3-part series with all things purpose.
Excellent. Can't wait.